Modules 5 through 8 took a deeper look at the problems of practice within the curriculum. The 5 practices of productive mathematical discourse, looking at discussion questions, when and how to use them, cool downs and the cool downs guidance, as well as the checkpoint lessons and the stations involved in the checkpoint lessons. Let's take a moment to focus on some of the key ideas from these modules. The problems of practice we took a look at were small group instruction, the modeling lessons and micro-modeling tasks, the instructional routines, the bridges, formative assessments, student reflections and student surveys, advancing student thinking, and responsive strategy. As you move into the school year, think about how you can use these appropriately in the classroom to best meet the needs of your students, and how can you use each individual part to provide the best instruction for your students. And the 5 practices for productive mathematical discourse. Anticipating. So what do you think the students' responses to the mathematical task would be? This would take place during your planning. Monitoring. Monitoring the students' actual responses to the tasks, and this is while they are actually working and you are monitoring during the instructional time. Selecting student response to feature during discussions. And as you selected those, sequencing those student responses during the discussion so that it's strategic and flows. And connecting student responses during the discussion. So even connecting some of the responses that you chose to display within the discussion. Key ideas when planning discussion questions. Focus on what to listen and look for as students are exploring. Also, believes and values that students bring their own funds of knowledge to the task. So you have to believe your students can do the work. Responsive strategies provide scaffolds that provide students access to grade level work. And this is a key thing, the scaffolding as opposed to remediation. During the planning of a lesson, first off, capture the big ideas of the lesson and do the math. Then describe the progression of the learning, plan to facilitate discussion, and then planning for each learner. So all of these are important parts during the planning. This is great to do as a PLC, so you can bounce ideas off of each other. The cool downs, make sure you do the cool downs at the end of each lesson. Students should spend approximately 5 minutes working on the cool down on their own and submit it. Remember, this is the one time that students can show you what they know. So it's very important that they're working on their own and within a time limit, so you can see what did they master from the objectives. The cool down acts as a short formative assessment to gauge students' comprehension of the lesson. A quick sort of the cool downs to notice trends in student understanding. So this can be done very quickly. This would not be grading. This is just really checking for understanding. Students' answers to the cool down can be used to modify future instruction as needed. And the key ideas from the checkpoint lessons. The checkpoint lesson, the check your readiness is the required station, and then you should take advantage of the small group instruction time and stations. And as you move towards the school year, think about 2 to 3 actions you plan to take as a result of your learning.